Donald Young was known for music, for service, and for his steady presence at Trinity United Church of Christ on Chicago's South Side. He directed voices that filled a large sanctuary, taught students in the city's schools, and served as a deacon who could be counted on to arrive early, stay late, and make sure the work was done well. People described him as a mentor and an organizer, someone who inspired the people around him while ensuring that the choirs under his direction sang with a single, unified voice. His name traveled beyond the church walls because Trinity was a major community hub, one that, for many years, counted a future president of the United States among its members. That detail would later influence the way his case was discussed in public, but Donald's story began long before it ever appeared in headlines. He joined Trinity when he was young and grew into leadership there over time, eventually becoming the choir director, a role he held for about 2 decades. Pastor Jeremiah Wright later recalled how Donald had been drawn into church life through friends and music, and those who sang under him spoke of a director who treated rehearsals as both an art and a community gathering. He pushed his singers toward perfect harmonies but also checked in on their lives. Just before Christmas in 2007, local television aired footage of him guiding a choir, his hands moving with the measured confidence of someone who knew exactly what he wanted to hear and how to bring it out. Outside the church, Donald worked as an elementary school teacher. That job, like his role as a choir director, demanded patience, structure, and dedication. By the end of 2007, he was 47 years old, living in a modest apartment in the South Shore neighborhood on East 69th Street, and preparing for the holidays. Those who knew him expected to see him in the days leading up to Christmas in the places he always was, in the classroom, in rehearsals, and in the sanctuary. On the morning of Sunday, December 23, 2007, that pattern was broken. Donald's roommate returned to the apartment around daybreak to find the door closed but unlocked. Inside, Donald had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Police quickly classified the incident as a homicide. Some valuables were missing from the apartment, but investigators did not immediately conclude that the motive was theft. The news traveled quickly through the Trinity community, then through the city. Neighbors awoke to the sound of sirens and the sight of squad cars outside. For the church family, the news arrived in phone calls and messages that felt unreal, especially in the days just before Christmas when Donald would normally be preparing for one of the busiest services of the year. Within a week, the sanctuary where Donald had worked for decades was filled with people gathered for his funeral. Choirs he had trained stood to sing for him one final time, their voices carrying through the same space where his hands had once set the tempo. Pastors, parishioners, friends, and former students spoke of his steadiness, his generosity, and the sound he had built rehearsal after rehearsal. Thousands attended, a sign of how deeply his life had touched the city. The shock of his death spread beyond the church. Leaders from LGBTQ+ organizations in Chicago expressed concern about a possible pattern after 2 fatal shootings occurred within weeks of each other. The November 17th loss of 24-year-old Larry Bland, and the December 23rd loss of Donald Young. They issued a community alert, called for information from the public, and urged police to devote resources to the cases. The call was a mixture of fear and determination, rooted in the hope of preventing further harm. These advocates emphasized that even if the incidents were not connected, the community needed reassurance that every case was being taken seriously. The church's public profile drew additional attention to the case. Before the 2008 presidential campaign, Barack Obama had been a longtime member of Trinity United Church of Christ. By late 2007, national media outlets were already examining aspects of the church's life. That spotlight, however, did not alter the core facts of Donald's case: the date, the location, the investigative classification, the community's response, and the fact that no arrest had been made. While speculation has swirled in the years since, reputable newsrooms and fact-checkers have repeatedly found no credible evidence to support sensational claims tying his death to national political figures. What remains are the verified details, the public record, and the absence of closure. In the days following December 23rd, police confirmed the address on East 69th Street and the timeline of discovery around 7:30 in the morning. They noted that some items were missing from the apartment but did not declare robbery as the definitive motive. Detectives canvassed the neighborhood, processed the scene, and appealed for tips. The holidays passed under the weight of the loss. Months later, the case was still open. Donald's name began to appear in cold case databases, alongside the location of the incident and the agency responsible for the investigation. For his family, friends, and former students, that single word unsolved was heavy. It represented unanswered questions and the ongoing need to ask for answers. This case exists within a broader reality. Across the United States, clearance rates for homicides involving black victims are lower on average than for those involving white victims. In majority black neighborhoods, those disparities are more pronounced. In Chicago, community advocates have pointed to this gap as both a symptom of and a contributor to mistrust between residents and law enforcement. For those personally connected to a case like Donald's, these are not abstract statistics, they are lived experiences of anniversaries without justice and appeals for information that fade into silence. The weeks before December 23rd were busy for Donald. As the Christmas holiday approached, rehearsals became more frequent, and the demands of his role grew. On December 22nd, the day before, friends said he had plans for the holiday. The night was cold, with temperatures dropping into the 20s and 30s. By morning, his roommate walked into a scene that would leave more questions than answers. From an investigative perspective, the early hours of a case are crucial. Forensic teams likely photographed and documented the apartment, collected ballistic evidence, checked for signs of forced entry, and swabbed for fingerprints or DNA. The detail of the closed but unlocked door raised possibilities that Donald knew his assailant, that forced entry occurred through another route, or that the door had been left unsecured. Ballistic evidence, if recovered, could have been entered into national databases to check for matches in other cases. In 2007, DNA analysis was less advanced than it is today, and touch DNA was rarely used. Witness canvassing would have been conducted, but in winter conditions and at an early hour, there may have been few people to speak with. Surveillance footage was far less common than in the present day. If Donald had a cell phone, investigators might have reviewed call logs and messages, but retention policies and technology of the time often limited the amount of data available. Without strong early leads, cases can stall. Detectives may keep certain details private to verify future witness statements. If they identify a person of interest without enough evidence for charges, they may choose not to name that person publicly. While this protects the investigation, it can also leave the public perception that nothing is happening. Community engagement after the first few weeks is critical in maintaining visibility. In Donald's case, there was a wave of advocacy in late December and early January, including the Illinois House resolution honoring his service. Over time, public coverage lessened, and remembrance shifted toward personal and church-centered tributes. Social media posts and memorial mentions kept his name alive for those who knew him. The comparison to Larry Bland's case persisted because of the timing and certain similarities. Bland, a 24-year-old also active in his community, had been found dead in his home just over a month earlier. Police have never confirmed a connection between the two cases, but the Joint Community Alert underscored concerns about the safety of black gay men in the area at that time. By 2012, 5 years after Donald's death, media coverage was sparse. Friends and former colleagues continued to remember him privately. Advances in DNA and other forensic technology offered hope in other cases, but there was no public indication of similar developments in his. In Chicago, where thousands of homicides remain unsolved, cold case resources are stretched thin. Each file competes for attention with new cases and other unresolved investigations. Rumors have continued to circulate online. Some of these tie the case to national political figures, but these claims remain unverified and have been refuted by credible outlets. For Donald's family and friends, such speculation can be frustrating, shifting attention away from his life and the pursuit of real investigative leads. Responsible retelling focuses on confirmed facts: his age, his roles at Trinity and in the schools, the date and location of the incident, the unlocked door, the missing items, and the unresolved status of the case. As the years have passed, Donald's legacy has endured. The choirs he trained still carry the techniques and discipline he instilled. His former students, now adults, remember the lessons he taught both in and out of the classroom. For those who knew him, the absence of justice has not diminished his influence. His story is part of the larger conversation about the need for persistent effort in seeking answers, the disparities that exist in clearance rates, and the importance of remembering the people behind unsolved cases. As of 2025, Donald Young's case remains open and unsolved. It stands as a reminder of the challenges in solving homicides, especially in large urban centers where investigative resources are stretched thin. Advances in forensic science have brought breakthroughs in other cold cases, and it remains possible that new technology or information could one day bring resolution. Until then, his name remains on the list of cases awaiting answers, his life remembered for the music he created, the students he taught, and the community he served.
Thank you for watching Fatal Secrets of True Crime. Subscribe for more stories like this. Real crimes, hidden truths, and the secrets they tried to bury. Your support helps keep these stories alive and the pressure on for answers. Until next time, remember, every secret eventually comes to light.